Day 8 of sharing your CPS fail stories until something changes. This story is from a different perspective than I usually do, and this is actually a child's experience in the foster system and the abuse that they suffered there that should have never happened. So without further ado, let's read it. It says, I was born into the foster system. I had 4 bio brothers who were removed and adopted out as well before I was born. I was taken from the hospital at birth and placed in a pre-adoptive home set to be adopted at 3 months old. However, the judge in the county I was born in overrid the 3-month rule for 2 years and eventually returned me, and only me, because I wasn't adopted and rights weren't terminated, to my bio parents. To avoid any further interactions with CPS after getting me back, they ran with me to another state, where they severely abused me physically and essayly, as well as other people, and let men do things to me. They'd leave me with random people and places, leave me in hot cars in heat for hours. They would purposely park the car on the corner of our lawn far from the house so they couldn't hear my screams. I eventually was removed from them again in the original state, where I went through roughly 14 foster homes, where I continued to experience physical and SA abuse. I ended up in another pre-adoptive home at the time. I think I was maybe 7 years old. Same thing happened with them as my first set of foster parents, as a baby that was supposed to adopt me. While living with them, I had to travel to out of state sometimes. I'd get sent to this respite home that was just a woman, not a couple. She was looking fairly old, but in hindsight, I know it was just the drugs. She would force me to watch her and her dealers, 3 men, shoot up, then lock me in a room with them where they would do anything they wanted, including branding me, putting cigarettes and buds out on my private areas. I went there a few times for respite care while my pre-adoptive family was out of state. Being I was a ward of the state, I couldn't go with them without special permission from the state. This is why I was put in the respite care for the time that they were gone. Normally, no longer than a couple days. I was with this pre-adoptive family for roughly 1.5 years and was returned to my bio parents. My mom ended up taking me yet again to another state and leaving me there for 6 months with some people we knew, while she figured out how to get rid of me. I had pneumonia and my glasses were broken at the time. This being the second time she let me get that sick and just left me. After 6 months, she came and got me and took me in the middle of the night with no pants or shoes and got us on a Greyhound back to my original state where she left me with my dad's very sick mom after telling me we were going on vacation to make me comply with going. She didn't say goodbye to me. My grandma fell more sick. I wasn't in school. It was almost Halloween. I was given to my grandmother's friend who couldn't care for me longer than 2 weeks. My grandfather from my mom's side came to get me and bring me to my hometown where I was born and originally removed me from my family. I was given to my cousin who was on drugs and was being beat by her boyfriend every day. Roughly 9 months after getting with my cousin, I was placed in foster homes due to extensive drug use, domestic violence, and child abuse. My aunt took me in and adopted me. 2 years later, gave me back to the system, terminated her rights, and I went into another foster home who wanted, or claimed that they wanted, to adopt me. I was with them 6 months when they turned me into a residential facility. This place ended up being personally involved with my first set of foster parents. They previously worked there, but didn't at the time I was there, but now they do again. They contacted them and told them I was magically back and they can adopt me. I was anxious to get out of the system. I was about to turn 14, so I had a choice whether they would adopt me or not. And of course, I took it. But once my adoption was done, everything changed, including my entire name. When I was a baby, they had planned on naming me. They changed my name with the adoption and the way they treated me as well. Because I wasn't that baby anymore and had been through so much, they forced me into a mental hospital and into other residentials and loaded me up on medications. I tried to call CPS and to help me, and they just laughed at me. This family ended up disowning me at 18, booted me 3 days after my birthday. Our relationship dwindled, but I wanted parents and a family so bad, so I kept trying to be accepted and be what they wanted, but I wasn't. Fast forward to when I'm almost 25 and I'm trying to rekindle a relationship. Part of that, I allowed them to take my daughter 2 separate weekends. One for my wedding, which they attended, and one more for another wedding my husband was in. Under their care, she was molested by my adopted brother and they have disowned me again, as well as my daughter. I just have no words. The abuse, the neglect, the absolute horror that she went through going through the foster system and ultimately ending up with a toxic family anyways was really just depressing and horrible, and my heart just goes out to this girl. This is terrible.